Hi, it's Roni and back with another Scrappy Challenge. Today's Scrappy Challenge is to create a layout that is a scrap lift. And I chose this one and it was on Pinterest and I liked the banner here. And then when I ended up clicking on it, I found out it was by Sue's Fish here on YouTube. And so that's what I'm going to use today. And I just thought of something. I didn't pull no paper out. So I will have to do that before I start the process part. This is the layout that I'm going to use. Isn't it pretty? Anyway, I hope mine turns out half as pretty. But I am going to set this over here as my inspiration. And this is the picture I'm going to use of my granddaughter. I'm going to use one of these. I'm not sure which one yet. I got out some thread, some enamel dots, some flowers, these little things from Freckle Fawn, those felt things, buttons and some ribbon, and I think one flare down there, some stamps, punches, and this one is like this, and different inks. This wish punch and some vellum, but I will figure out what paper to use because it does have some paper on there. Anyway, stick around for the process video. Well, I went ahead and cut 1.5 inches off the white, and this is Ellie Studio Shine, and that is We Are Memory Keepers So Easy. And it comes with, you can get a mat with a ruler there to make it straight, and I didn't hold down tight enough to the ruler thing, so it went off track, but it makes the holes for you so that all you have to do is sew on there. And I had done this twice and went off track, and so the stitches on the back, I went through the wrong ones to start with, but they were really close together. So about a couple inches up, it kind of wobbles a little bit because I went ahead and got back on track because the other one didn't go all the way up. And I'm going to cover that up with a little embellishment cluster. On the Scraplift layout, it don't have a cluster there, but that's why I'm doing it, because you really can't tell unless you're looking for it, but since, you know, I know it's there, I wanted to cover it up. But I used a darker pink for this. I wanted the stitches to show up. She used a white in hers and a sewing machine, but I used my Sew Easy instead. But the floss that the Sew Easy comes with is what I'm going to end up using on my buttons also. And there my head, I was setting my iPad up so that I could see the picture of the layout. It had disappeared, and I thought I better check since I didn't even remember it had paper on it until I was looking at it when I was doing the presentation part. I didn't even realize it had paper. But I took some felt and cut a couple circles out with my Creative Memories cutter, and I just used my ATG gun to put that on there on the block. And I didn't want it really dark, I want it faded, so that's why I used the scrap paper and stamped on it first and then on my paper. And this is a very old teal ink pad. I don't even know the name of it. It's not something I've ever really heard of. I'd got it when I first started scrapbooking off of eBay, and I didn't have to stamp somewhere else first with it because it's almost dry. I've had it a long time. And that one is a Studio G, and I just used a stamp pad to stamp onto the layout, and it didn't stamp very dark, and I love the texture in it, especially with the sponge. It just really made it look pretty. I mean, you can't tell it so much from the video maybe, but it did. It had like little swirls because I twisted as I went. And here I remembered that was kind of curled up around the stitching, so I went back and curled it up. I noticed it when I was putting that green on there. I'm trying to decide if I want it to overlap or to go back farther, like Sue's uh, layout or what. Mine, when I first started putting those circles on there for the background, I forgot I was doing a banner, and I didn't go down far enough. I just went across a little bit and then realized it, so I went back up. But hers has got more of a sway to it than mine does because she knew what she's doing. I didn't. Apparently not anyway. And I'm just testing out the waters there, trying to decide what I want where. And I went ahead and used the same paper that I used over at the side. And like I said, that's Ellie's Studio Shine. And that's the back side. And it has a lot of summer stuff on there. And Reagan has a hoodie on. I'm not even sure where I took that picture from or why, but it's probably not a summer day because it gets really warm here in the summer. And she wouldn't have a hoodie on in the summer. So I was picking out something that didn't have summer day or ice cream or anything like that on it. And I'm putting my vellum pieces down. I used a 1 1/4-inch punch and my scallop punch for these. And then I also used the punch that had wish. And I'm going to work that in. I thought I would just use it like a regular circle, and I put it over to the side and tried it and didn't really like it. So then I got to thinking I'm going to put it on the scallop. So that's where it ends up staying, is on one of the scallops. And I think about this time I said, oh yeah, I have that sun over there. So I'm going to use the sun on there also. But she had a couple of pieces of paper on there. I think she probably had 3 or 4. And I didn't pull out another sheet of paper. So I just went ahead and used what I had. I first thought that all she had was a piece on the side and then vellum. But then I noticed that when I glanced back over that she had more. So I thought, well, I'll just use the same paper that I started out with and reflected on the left-hand side of the paper. And there I'm thinking about using the pink, but no, the yellow one out. I like the yellow more because it had a little more contrast. My picture is a little bigger than hers. I cropped it down, but that's about as close as I could crop it without just cutting part of her head off. And I guess I had it pretty close up when I took the picture. And I just put some in the back. Oh, and here I thought, well, I might want a heart on here, or 2, or 3. I only end up using 1 of those, but I went ahead and punched out 3. But I thought, might as well use it from there where it's going to be hidden instead of getting another piece of paper. And there I'm not sure what I'm doing. Oh, I am probably going to head and put my doily down. And then my picture, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Because I do know they're going to be there. Since that's what the original layout has. And when I was doing this, I thought we were all supposed to do different layouts. And apparently not. Apparently we're all supposed to do the same one. So you might see a couple of people doing the same one and then a couple of people doing different ones because we misunderstood what we were supposed to do. And there's that little sun. And at first, I think I want to put stitches on there because kind of like a button, the 2 eyes, like buttonholes. But I ended up changing my mind on that because once I did it, I didn't really like it. So I ended up just putting a glue dot behind these eyes instead of having the stitch there. And here I'm just kind of laying them out. I don't know if they even remotely end up like that because I take them on and off a few times while I'm doing the stitching. I cut most of that out because all I did was stitch the buttons on there. I did the first one and I think the last one, but I cut the rest out. But I put them back on each time and take them back off. I should have put a glue dot, but I was afraid I'd have a hard time taking my needle through it because that needle is not very sharp, and you really don't want it sharp, because when I was doing that stitching across the layout, I got my thumb once and I thought, boy, I am glad this is not sharp. It's a good thing you go ahead and make holes in the paper to start with. Because it kind of hurt even if it wasn't sharp, but it would have hurt a lot more if it was. And there's that little sun. I got a couple of them from Freckled Fawn, so I'm going to try to use them on layouts. And is a great color. It went with the other yellow. And I had some flowers there I was going to use, but once I got started putting everything out there, I realized that the yellow in them was a lot brighter than the yellow in the buttons. And the sun, they're all pretty close to the same color. The doily, it's all kind of a mellow colored yellow. Mellow yellow. Yeah. And here's where I decided I don't like the stitches, so you're seeing me take them out. Yeah, I just get half a glue dot. No, I think I used a whole glue dot there. I used half of one on the bow later, but I just put a glue dot behind it. And it looked a lot better with just the glue dot behind it. It looked like it's kind of blind or something, blocking out the sunlight. If it looked like shades on there, I'd liked it a lot better. But I thought it had some little flowers, buttons that were shaped like flowers, but I looked, I couldn't find them. I must have them in another container or something, because I did not find them. I have plenty of buttons, however. That's one reason this layout drew my attention. I seen all those buttons on there, and I thought, I could use up some of my buttons and put them on my layout instead of having them just sit there in the plastic container all divided up. But yeah, I have them divided up by color, and I had quite a few different shades of teal and quite a few different shades of yellow and pink, but unfortunately I must have used all the flower ones because I didn't find but a couple, and they weren't the right shades. And there's the enamel dots, and the yellow's over there on the right hand side, and I get to looking at them and thinking they're too bright too, so they go to the wayside. And I pull out a different yellow, and I also pull out a different teal green too, because I thought that one was a little too bright and a darker shade too. I wanted them all to kind of blend in together. And there I'm just picking and choosing where to put them, because like I said, she had little tiny flower buttons, which I would love to have had, but I didn't have any. And so I'm using the enamel dots instead. And she does also have some stitches, cross stitches on her layout. I forgot all about that until I was doing the voiceover and realized I didn't have those little cross stitches on there. So I might end up going back and doing them before I put the picture in my album, the layout in my album. And here I'm using some acrylic paint that I got from Michael's. Well, I think I got the white from Hobby Lobby, but they're the same brand. And I wanted, I put more white than I am yellow, because I want it to be the same light shade of yellow that I've got on the rest of the page. And so I'm working at that, and that's a Heidi Swap wood veneer, and it says beautiful. So my title's going to be beautiful. Both my granddaughters are beautiful. Neither one look alike at all, but they're both beautiful. And so I'm just painting it. Of course, I had to put a couple of coats on it, but it turned out pretty good shade for my layout. And that is a water brush. It has water in it, so you don't have to have the jar of water or cup of water. And I'm just putting some wet glue on the back of there to put it on my page. And this is where I go ahead and put the little cluster down on the right, which is, like I said, is not in the original layout, but that one is a flower. That button does have a flower on it. And I thought, well, I want to use it on the page, and after I decided about covering that little glitch up right there, I decided that I would go ahead and use the flower there. I was originally going to put it up there with the rest, but it's a great one to put right down there. And I was going to put it all by itself and make it look like it was stitched right into the stitching, and that was my original thought. But then I got to thinking, I can make a cluster. So yeah, I'm making a cluster and putting some of the other colors down there and the other, doing some repeat patterns. And there's a yellow punch, and then the punch that I took from behind the picture, and my button. And I am going to sew it on. I thought about doing a sticky dot, but it's a little bit heavier button, so I was afraid it wouldn't stay. So I am going to go ahead and stitch it on. And I barely had enough thread for the first part on leftover. That was left over from one of the things I done, and then I did one of the things I did, and then the other one was a piece left over from something else. I think that's it. Oh, my ribbon! I've got to put the ribbon on, and I just cut half because one was a little bit too big, and put it behind my bow there. And that's it. That's my layout. Scraplift from Sue's Fish. And I don't think she has a video for it. I looked for one, but I didn't see one. And so, no, I don't think she has a video for it. But the layout is on Pinterest. And if I remember, I will leave a link below for the layout on Pinterest so you can see it. But yeah, you can see a little glitch a little bit there if you're looking close. And there's my bow, which isn't very good because I had to hand make it. I started thinking I only got like one bow and it's not the right color. And there's my banner and my beautiful granddaughter. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Check out the other ladies' Scraplift pages for the Scrappy Challenge this week, and we'd love to have you join. I will leave a link for Scrappy Challenges on Facebook below. Come join us. And if you don't do videos, you can always post your video on the Scrappy Challenges group. Thanks for watching. And video, post your layout. And any layout that you do, post on there. We'd love to see them. Thanks for watching. Bye.